You know, occasionally you might feel like the world's against you. You're feeling stressed and anxious about stuff. Completely normal. You need to remember that the world is always full of beautiful places and moments. Morning walk, a little bit different this morning because this morning walk is at Sydney Airport, heading to Fiji. Morning walk, episode 14. You know, it's pretty normal to be stressed and worried about stuff. That happens to everybody. I guess one of the important things to remember is that the world is full of places like this. And moments like this. So today's episode comes to you from Castaway Island in Fiji. No, there is no dog. There is no dog. Just me this morning. Up early. Had quite a few things on my mind overnight. It's just one of those sort of strange things, you know, where you can't sleep particularly well, but not with any very good reason. We're actually here for a few days, doing some of our executive planning for our business, and you know, we're lucky. We've got an awesome crew. We've been running our couple of businesses now for over 11 years, so we've got quite a lot of experience. But I guess it's kind of funny how when you sit down and look at the big picture, it always seems to be the same. It always seems to be uncertain and a little bit scary, a little bit sort of stressful to think about. Maybe that was why I was awake last night, was just, I don't know, processing some of the things that we talked about yesterday in one of our sessions. So, you know, not an easy thing to deal with when you're running a small or medium-sized business, is trying to work out what's the right thing to do. Because, you know, I think people have this really romantic idea of business where, you know, you're going to launch something and it's going to take off, and everything's just going to be sort of sweet and smooth sailing from there. But God, there's so much stuff that goes into it that you just don't think about, or you don't even realize when you start. I mean, for a start, when I started with my wife, our first business, I certainly never even thought about the fact that I would learn to do accounting and do marketing really well, and I don't know, learn IT and how to do coding stuff. And all of these sort of things that, you know, are such a diverse skill set, and I never ever would have gotten just working in a regular day job, because they just weren't within my remit. You know, I basically just had to give them, I had the opportunity to give them to someone else. So I never would have had to worry about website servers and stuff like that. And that equally goes for my wife. You know, she built our first website from scratch and it lasted for 5 years. So those are some of the things that you just don't even think about, but you've always got those big questions too. And I think it's also the thing when you start a business, you know, you're expecting that you're going to launch this thing and it's going to get going really fast and everything's going to be amazing and you're going to be able to do so many things. And then the reality is that it ends up taking you 10 times as long to do half as much as you thought you were going to do. And those priorities kind of keep on shifting because, I don't know, maybe you've created a product or service and it doesn't get the take up that you want. So you kind of have to shift your perspective on things and, you know, pivot your business, so to speak, to try and make sure that it works. So our first website, which was fine back in 2007 when we built it, you know, we ended up keeping that for about 4 or 5 years, even though it's something that we only ever expected to last 12 months. But actually in that, I think there's a really good life lesson in general, not just a small business lesson. And this has been very well documented. This is not original thought at all, but this idea of doing like minimum viable product. So basically like getting that thing to the minimum state it needs to be in order to meet the particular need you have right now, and then continuing to iterate and improve on it as you go. Really critical thing to be able to do. And in business, for example, you know, that might be getting your website up to like a V1, version 1 standard, and then accepting that it's not going to be the way you want for a while, but it does the job. Does it get you customers and clients? Does it put forward your message to the world? And accepting that is going to be okay while you work on more important things. And honestly, like, I think life is no different. Like, are you going to be doing a trip through South America where you're going to need to learn some Spanish? Like, what is your V1 level of Spanish that you need in order to get that trip to South America started? Because when you get there, you're going to continue to improve, right? So it's not essential for you to go in there being completely fluent. Maybe it's good for you to be going in there with like first year uni level or something like that. So this idea of iteration and improvement is something that you can apply everywhere in your life. And I think honestly that takes a heck of a lot of stress out of this kind of like day-to-day pressure that we put on ourselves to just always be fucking awesome, which is just not possible. Like, remember that you can't just always be awesome all the time. And you know, this idea that you can incrementally improve is something that will help you always try to be the best that you can be at the thing that you need to be right now, and then keeping your eye on the bigger picture. Anyway, handful of thoughts for this morning. No dog. I miss my dog. Considering I wasn't even a dog person until a few years ago, that's another story. But just heading back down on another day of planning ahead. Whatever you're getting up to, I hope you have an awesome day too. Spectacular sunrise. Feeling good for today. Let's go have a coffee. Catch you next time.